Good job. Welcome to another episode of recording of DTYDT. Deeper than you don't think. I'm your host Zay. Alright. Today we're gonna have a short, brief topic. Topic. I'm talking too fast. A brief topic. A brief topic of a mixture of things that kind of give us the results that we have today. That a lot of us do have, and happens more frequently than we all like to admit. That's going on more than we like to admit. This is where our problem lies. But anyways, before I get into that, first, I'm a man of God. Secondly, I am not my beliefs and ideas. So when my beliefs and ideas don't fit, I remove them and replace them with new ones that fit. Okay. So today's topic is gonna be like a mixture of a couple of things, and hopefully, we can bring them all together and show the evidence in our lives that is our issues, our blockage, whatever you want to call it. Right? So today we're going to talk about, well, not really in a general statement, but an accumulation of how and what formed our mindset and the way and how we are. Okay? So today's topic: school education, adulting maturity age, the imbalance. A lot of us are of the age to be paying bills or moving out or owning certain things or having certain things, but our mindset isn't up to par to the age level that we want to accumulate these things or we want to attain these things or manage or maintain these things. Right? So because of our age, we are adulting with an immature mindset. For those who it's hard to identify if you might be one of those, if you have to take on responsibility, adult responsibility at an early age, you might be mature in some areas, even though you were forcefully matured in other areas. Right? Hurt and trauma. If you had ever hurt and trauma would also mature you in a lot of areas and leave you immature in other areas. And it's not just any one person, and it's not just any one thing that it would be for each individual person. It would be very different of the immaturity and maturity trade rate. Ooh, that's a good one, right? So because of our early years of adulting in certain areas, it kept us in immaturity in other areas. Excuse me. Right? There's a roadmap for how we got here. Right? So if there's some type of lack or in some areas where things don't add up or frustration in some area and things that you cannot attain, you cannot hold or maintain, right? That is a result of immaturity in certain areas. Right? A lot of us would look to change areas that we find we are immature in ourselves, but when other people point out other immature areas, it's hard for us to even receive that and look at those other areas. Of course, when we're fixed in other areas or we think we are the only one can identify those areas, other people can identify those things too. So we can't really take those things too hard because there's a roadmap for how we got there, right? Being or having adult responsibilities and still being immature in other areas, right? Age wouldn't really make us an adult because there's so many other immature areas that we cannot handle as adults or we do not handle as adults. even though we are adults. We might have a job, we might have kids, and a lot of us still aren't handling their responsibility of having maturity in other areas, even though we are adulting or forced to adult in other areas, right? There are a lot of reasons for those of the having to take on responsibility for other people and other things, or people or things that we thought that, oh, of course the next person will fall on is me because we're the only one who cared. But still, it still left us in areas where we are still operating in immaturity and we are stuck in immaturity. Not saying we can't get out, but we have to realize that we are stuck in immaturity. Right? Every action we take has spiritual consequences. A lot of the times we don't really consider the spiritual consequences because all throughout our lives they taught us natural fears and fed us supernatural as entertainment. So a lot of the movies and shows and cartoons, the way how relationships goes, or if there's disaster and the way how they end, this is how we think and see our lives and the outcome of our lives, or we run from the outcome of our lives because of how certain characters, or how certain movies and how certain shows went. This is how we form our lives. This is how we defend ourselves, defend our heart, and defend and try to defend our minds off of what we see through our entertainment. So these are all natural based fears fed as supernatural, right? Fed as supernatural and as entertainment. So we don't even know a lot of these things or what people be going through is supernatural because they are like regular people going through the same thing as us. But what we don't know, these things are actually supernatural. The effects of these things that they get into and they take around with them and they carry around, how they act, these friendships, these families, the way how things are broken, even in the way how they show the movies when there's disasters and there was a trip, everything, all those stuff is supernatural consequences off of how or what action we took, right? So normally fear-based superstition is our final error of judgment of authorities. You know how we would put everything in luck or what goes around comes around. Like these things doesn't really it don't include God. There's no God included in these things. So that's why we still live in fear. We still run in fear. We still operate in fear, right? We scared of getting hurt. We scared to succeed. We're scared to fail. We're scared to try, right? We're scared to be seen and we're scared not to be seen. It doesn't matter. Why is it all operating in the same base that keeps us from actually doing something not just bigger than ourselves, but something that we would never really thought of, right? Everything is fear-based authority as our final error of judgment of authorities, right? So everything is based off what we fear of doing, what we fear of happening, or what we fear of not happening, okay? Using what people, another thing we do too with this immature thing is using what people did to us as an excuse of why we do what we do. It might be during school, it might be the teachers, it might be the students, the classmates, it might be a family member, right? It might be whatever, whoever hurt us or whoever did something to us or there was something that we didn't like. That's the thing we run from. That's the thing we try to prevent. And everything we build up and around us instead of inside of us is to defend us up from the things that we don't want to happen, the thing we don't want to feel, and the thing we don't want everybody to see. But what we don't understand, we all have these things that we don't want everybody to see. We all have something that we hide from that we don't want to happen to us. We all run from something that we don't want to happen, that we don't want happening to us. We all build up a wall around us to prevent something from reaching us. It's not just The one to the left, the one to the right is everybody, no matter what they say. Right? A big example of that, if they have more stuff outside, you're gonna see that's basically what it is. Because a lot of the things is built for how people see you now in the outside, and now we would say it's for us. Yes, we would say it's for us, and yes, we will convince ourselves it's for us. But at the end of the day, it's not we how not we see us. It's how we think they see us. Right? It's about what we think, how they see us. No matter if you admit it or not, it's all about how we think they see us. Right? A lot of us may say and think that we don't care what nobody think or cares. We don't think we don't keep. A lot of us would think that, but the way how we operate and the way how we draw or don't draw attention to us, it shows, because everything we reveal is not from us, it's from other people, other words. A lot of us are not saying revealing, but a lot of us are not being ourselves because of the other things that we hide them from. And of course, because we don't want nobody in our business, we don't want nobody knowing what's going on. Yeah, but if it's all if it's all good, how will anybody know how you are? Not how you are, but like people move different when they're not all good. Because you're not all good all the time. So take it for existence, social media. Even when it comes to dating apps. Don't matter if it's reels, if it's stories, or if it's regular posts. Everybody posts the good things. You only see when we go out on dates. You only see when we got the best outfit on. You only see when we got makeup on. You only see when we on vacation. You only see when we got the car. You only see when we got the clothes. You only see when we got the drinks. You only see when we partying. You only see when we doing the activity. But what about when we praying, or what about when we not even exercising, but when about when we doing that inside work, when we dealing with the brokenness on the inside, right? It don't gotta be also about, like everybody experience humility in some area. Not saying you gotta show your humility, but people act like these things don't happen, or we move like these things don't happen. Everything is so just quick on that aspect. We're not taking the time out to even understand, even though people don't show it to us or not, they have things that goes on with them, that goes on around them, that happens to them. And not everybody is going to react the same. But if we keep showing this life of perfection, this life of happiness, this life of this is all we're going to have to upkeep. And this is where the problem comes from. Because if you're trying to keep up a life that we're portraying to other people, and that's all they want to see. And we don't even understand the pressure that we're putting on ourselves because of the life we want people to think that we have. And we are going to say we don't want to care what people think, but trust me, we care what people think. That's why we out here or not out here. That's why we post certain things and don't post certain things. We still care. So stop acting like we don't. Stop acting like you don't have a heart. Everybody got a damn heart. It's going to be broken. It's going to be broken. Somebody you love, your family member, going to break your heart. But you break your own heart, you let that shit go in a heartbeat. So we got to stop all that. I went way off, but let me come back. I'm almost finished over here. I don't know who that was for, but that was for somebody out here. So last one was using what people did to us as an excuse of why we do what we do, right? This is another one here. We went to school. We went to school to get an education. We're adulting. They talked about us about maturity, so we got mature in other areas, and because of our age, and still there's an imbalance, right? There's this thing we do, right, that are word curses, right? Or we call it, or it could be called slander, right? Word curses are ill-spoken words between people, right? Or even a purpose, or even a person that have a thought of focus of ill will. So now, if you don't hear from somebody, right? Especially us as Christians and who are saved saints, now I mean, if we are in, if we know Jesus, if we know God and we pray, why is it that we still worried about people? Right? We still hit them up saying, "Hey, I had this dream." Like, why would you? Why would you? So there's something there that we don't understand fully if we're gonna be going to people worried or hitting people up still in worry or fear or concern. Now I mean, like, do we really believe our prayers work, or are we praying? Because if in our mind we're only thinking of something bad happened, or we had a bad dream, and we keep thinking the worst, that's not a good manifestation in your mindset to have for a person. Maybe you should calm down, process things a little bit differently, and then, find the right words to check on the friend. Instead of saying, "Hey, are you okay?" Just say, "Hey, just want to speak peace and blessings, just want to speak positivity, want to speak good vibes, pray the day goes well. Have an awesome, you're great, you're awesome, you're amazing." Stuff like that. Instead of, "Hey, everything okay? Yo, did you hear about this, about bad news?" Or trying to basically speak ill will about somebody else, or not even speak ill will about somebody else. You telling somebody your side of the story or what somebody did to you, but how you speaking about you? "Oh, this bitch. Oh, this nigga." We can't be doing stuff like that now. We can't be doing stuff like that now. And we gotta actually have better things to say about the people that we do talk about. This is how you find out if you've been speaking word curses on people your whole life. If you've been talking about whatever they be going through or whatever happened to them, they never say, "Yo, they gonna get through it," or "They got this," or "They still blessed," or "God still got them." If it ain't none of that, then you actually been entertaining slander and speaking ill will against this person. Now, the power of life and death is in the tongue, right? In the Bible, they compare the tongue as the steering wheel that steers a big ship, but it's that powerful to steer the whole ship. A little wheel, but steering a whole, like, a ship. That's how powerful the tongue is. So, how can you speak blessings and then curse in the same tongue, right? Another way is we're activating either heavenly highways or demonic highways, right? Life will be the heavenly highways. We activate that, speak blessings and all of that, all of that stuff. That's the highways that we're activating, right? Life, death will be all ill will, ill wishes. That's demonic highways. You can't be that. That's witchcraft, right? Divination, all that extra stuff. Be careful of all that stuff, because there's a lot of things that we're not knowledgeable of that we indulge in on a daily. That is spiritually deafening. Like we get in a lot of spiritual depth, spiritual poverty, because of a lot of these things that we maneuver in on the daily, right? So word curses, do our best not to speak ill will on people, and do our best to speak good. Bring them up. Everything is life. If you don't got nothing good to say, don't say it at all. If you can't go to that person in person to correct them, then don't say nothing at all. Pray for them. Right? This is hard for a lot of us because there's a lot of hate, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of malice, there's a lot of there's a lot of not only immature thing but a lot of darkness in there that we have to let go of, so we can even let a lot of these light in, right? So there's a lot of things we have to release before we can even put more light in. Or if we want to put more light in, we have to release release that darkness. Feel me? And this is one of the last things too I'm gonna touch on. And hopefully I have wrapped up everything in, the title of this thing, right? But this one is they told us, or they say, do what makes us happy, or do what makes you happy. And we took that as do what makes us feel good in the moment. And want to know how that's true? Are you still making that the same decision? Are you still making that same decision? If the answer is yes, that was one of the things. Okay, let me take that back. Not take that back, but let me finish that, right? If there's something that's beneficial, right, that's going to help you in the long run, that's a different story. But if it's something that you have to keep making a decision and a choice that is not healthy for you, for your mind, your body, your will, or emotions, it's not something that makes you happy. It's something that makes you feel good in the moment. So we have to be careful of when we're doing things that makes us happy. A lot of these things are just making us feel good in the moment, right? About a couple years down the line, we're gonna be someplace where we're gonna be like, yo, I don't know how I got here, and we're gonna be like, yo, you should have told me, or you should have told me, looking for somebody who could have told us. But in reality, it was choices that we made every day, and we got lost making those choices. So be careful of what makes you happy or makes you feel good in the moment, because happiness is a choice over time that especially helps you over time. Not It may not be instantly or in that moment, and that's where that instant gratification era came in, where a lot of us were living in. That's where that came from. So if it's not something that's going to affect you over time, and not just 6 months, 3 months, we talking about years, let's put some decades, right? You might be doing what makes you feel good in that moment. So hopefully this helps someone. If there was something in here you thought of someone while listening to this, right? Or somebody came to your mind, make sure you send this to them, because they definitely need to hear this too. Right? Make sure you guys you drop a comment. If you guys ain't got any questions, shoot. Right? And I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one. This is Zay signing out from DTYDT. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.